Hey, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're either catching me on my YouTube channel, True Divine 44, or my Facebook page, True Divine 44. Like, shares, subscribes and comments are greatly appreciated on either or both of those platforms, and much love to everybody who does that thus far. So I'm putting out as much free content as I can, mainly via tarot, to help support, guide and inspire. Part of that is the daily energy reads, and it's where I pick up on the energies around me, play with them a little bit, and then translate them via tarot. It backs up the energies that I'm feeling. It gives a bit more padding to the story that needs to be told, but it's always for you, the listener, to interpret what you really truly resonate with, what gets you here. Try not to cling on to things that don't belong to you. Try not to bend a reading to your will, because you can often manifest with the power of this. You can manifest things into your life, problems into your life that you didn't really need to deal with. They weren't there before. So this is for the 14th of the 5th, 2020, 14th of May 2020. The first card being this Queen of Pentacles. So she speaks of this nurturing, this family, the center of the home energy. So in your individual lives, it might be that you're being asked to step up as part of that role, to fulfill that role of being the center of the home, the heart of the home, the place where people feel safe, the nurturing side of things. And this is for males and females. This is speaking more of the divine feminine energy, I feel, which males and females have both, a balance of the masculine and feminine within. It speaks to this resourcefulness, this, when you look back at grannies, nanas, nans, different people call them different, but your grandmas, and you look back and you think, wow, they had so much on, some of them not even having automatic washing machines. And I know that sounds like a silly analogy, but that adds a lot to the day. So to do all of those daily tasks and still be there to teach, to nurture, to guide, to nourish, it's a big thing. And it can often go unnoticed because it's a quiet thing. It's not a wanting gratitude thing. It's this drive inside to give that nurture, to give that love, to give that guidance, that compassion to the people who you love and the people that need it. So there's this call to reevaluate the family home, maybe reevaluate certain values, in that it's being lost a little bit, the value of having a heart in a home, the home itself having a heart, the home itself having a heartbeat, a place where each individual within that home can feel safe, can feel whole and nourished and complete. It's the safe place from the world, or should be, that we can go away and shut the door behind us. Unfortunately for a lot of people that I'm feeling today, but it can be made for the fortunate, is this Three of Swords, the second card. And that's, that in other decks there's a heart and there's three swords stabbed right through it. This is wounds, this is deep wounds that have been allowed to take hold, that have been allowed to, in a certain way, direct your actions and direct who you become. And there's deep sorrow here. And I think a lot of these sorrows, a lot of these wounds, a lot of these pains, a lot of these abuses got in because on the greater stage we got complacent and we slipped up. We stopped valuing that heart in the home, that mother's energy, that mother's love, that deep, nurturing, compassionate space that could hold a million people. it's expanding. It's not limited. It's not limited when, you know, say kids are having bad behavioural issues, or when kids are being as good as gold. That love doesn't change. It's a constant. It's a foundational heartbeat. And we slipped up, and we've slipped up for a long time, and we stopped paying dues and recognising. We started taking for granted what that heart was and what that heart represents and what that heart does for people. And so, you know, a lot of people today are reflecting, thinking back to times where they just got off their path, where this Three of Swords got in, the different experiences that were brought upon them, you know, or attracted to them, or they attracted themselves through the decisions that they made. And I feel like there's a lot of people today who can be being very harsh on themselves, very uncompassionate to themselves, if that's a word. Discompassionate, uncompassionate, but not being compassionate to themselves, really digging deep on themselves, going hard in the pain, and not in the right way. Not in the right way, whatever way is your way. But for the people that I'm feeling today, the energies that I'm feeling today, there needs to be recognition that yes, while a lot of the times in our lives there's nobody else to blame but us for where we've gone, the things we've done, the things we've attracted. But during the process of releasing these wounds and giving self just that freedom to move on from these wounds once and for all, we do have to go through the process of to make the most out of this situation. We do have to go through the process of recognizing, so how did that get in? Why did that get in? Why did I become that? Why did I choose that corner to take? Why did I choose those people to be with? Why did I choose to react that way? And a lot of it comes back. So jumping back and forth in this reading to the home, to this heartbeat, to this grounding. This is a foundation. This is a grounding energy that, like I said before, gives people that security. So as children, when we've got this in the family home, we're actually so much safer and feel so much more divine, because actually we're not searching for something else, because we feel whole at home. So whatever experience we have outside of the home, there's always that knowing that the home is there, that heartbeat is there, ready to welcome you for good or bad, ready to guide you and nurture you for good or bad. And it's sort of when we're searching, when we don't have this and we go searching for it, but we don't know quite what we're searching for, because over time, as a collective, as I said before, we've forgotten the importance of the heart of this home, the mother in the home. That's when we do get into real trouble with the Three of Swords. Because when we're searching, you better believe there's energy searching for us. And where there's lack, there's those energies that will fill those things up, you know, fill those insecurities up, you know, with the snap of a finger. You attract in more without that foundation. So children who have been brought up in a home of resourcefulness, of nurturing, of compassion and guidance, and most importantly grounding, they don't tend to get into as severe Three of Swords. We all experience Three of Swords at some points, but they're not quite as severe, they're not quite as extreme. And so part of today for a lot of people is that our own karma is that we were part of that. We failed to recognize either the heart that we did have at home, and we allowed the outside world to get in enough to allow us to disrespect it and not value it. Or for a lot of people, that heart wasn't there, that those The things that I've just said were done generations back. But still, there wasn't that stop and think and look back as to why am I acting this way? What am I actually searching for? What do I need? What do I crave? And for most people today, it was and is that sturdiness, that foundation. And so for today, it is about creating that foundation within yourself. In the extremes of reminiscing and thinking back to these wounds that have been created within you, in the extremes of that, this is the best time to test that out. This is the best time to show yourself that you can be the heartbeat, that home, that heartbeat within. You can actually give yourself as a divine sovereign being that island within that is safe, that is foundational, that learns how to question the past so to not repeat in the future, that learns how to not be afraid of self, because during this heart, this home, this mother will never ever judge. Not this kind of mother. This kind of mother will listen. This kind of mother will probably give you more space and time to just talk yourself around to your own answers. But this kind of mother doesn't dismiss. It doesn't let go. It's just there. It's just like the womb. It's just there. So it's about creating this womb within yourself where you feel safe enough to, hey baby, to go through those questions, to go through that process, and know that you have this anchor here within self. I hope this makes sense. This heartbeat that's separate to all other things, in that you know you can meet yourself there, and you know it's not going to harm you to take your processes there, to take your thought processes there, to take your memories, your visualizations there, to work through them, to transmute them. It speaks to, on the wider stage, of this narcissistic divine feminine, not divine, feminine control that is, part of the hidden, that is absolutely over so many years manipulated and disfigured, disformed what is the divine feminine and what the divine feminine is capable of, and its value, its role in the home being the world, even down to the way we put such value on things like oil instead of hemp, and it's that it's been an insidious removal of the divine feminine within our consciousness. Even if you look at the way that the earth is treated, the greatest divine mother, if you look at that and you see the disrespect, the disregard, how many times have you seen people just throw rubbish on it and think nothing of it, and maybe look at you like you're a fool when you tell them to pick it up. There's this disrespect there. So part of building up that home within self, those inner grounds, that nurturing divine feminine heart, we have to do the actions. So start doing something on the outside. Go out and do some litter picking. Go out and just give gratitude to the abundance that's in nature. This queen recognizes nature. This queen recognizes the love, the consideration, the space and time that's held for creation to walk upon it. This queen works together with the wind, with the sun, with the rain, with the soil. This queen is so connected to everything. It's unreal. Her veins run right from her deep into the ground and back up again, and then those same veins run through her children as she grows them in the womb and then gives birth to them, and so on and so forth. Right now we're experiencing some tough days because there's deep cleansing to be done. There's big rewriting to be done. There's big flipping of the scripts to be done. We've lived under such an illusion as to how connected we can be with somebody on the other side of the world. We've lived under that illusion that that is not possible, that miles and time and all of that is an obstacle. This queen knows that it's not. This queen knows that she can run her energy through the veins of the earth and it'll connect with whoever and whatever she wants it to connect with. And so when we know that, and when we start doing those actions even on the outside, i.e. picking up the litter, doing things, it starts to rewrite the brain as to the importance in respecting that divine mother within yourself. And if you're lucky enough, if you've got a fantastic mother like I have, nurture that and respect that. Let that be one of your outside pour-ins today. Whether they're here or whether they've transmuted on and passed on to another existence, they'll feel it. This queen knows that, the connectedness to all. And so it's a deep, thoughtful, cleansing day, releasing day. We've been under the illusion for so long that we have to carry these wounds like a martyr, that we have to be, weighed down by them. We have to continue to punish ourselves for things that we've done in the past, that we have to continue, because that's the moral and ethic thing to do. That's the way forward. That's how you become a better person. This queen knows that that's not true. This queen knows that you give that away, you release that. You do the others that you've hurt, you do yourself no justice to carry swords in your heart. You do them no justice to cling on to those pains and those hurts for all you're worth, because you're not quite sure what is on the other side of them. How you exist when you've carried these wounds for so long, how you exist on the other side of this pain, of this smouldering anger. How do you go on? What do you fill your days up with? You fill your days up with the all, this, the connectedness. When you're releasing this, you'll see that things will come flooding into your life that have been like held back, but like a dam, with big gates. But there's been no space for them to flood into, because these swords have taken up all of that space in your heart and in your mind. So releasing that in any way you can into nature, into pouring your love into your mother, and starting to build inside that safe place where you can face you like the most loving mother ever. And this makes me think of, and I want to do a video on this actually, but Ma Kali, the Hindu goddess. And most people would look at the depiction of her and see that, it's just this monstrous being, like, with the tongue hanging out, and blood coming down her mouth. But that's the depiction of the battle that she went through for the children, for the earth. There was all of these gods, I'm no good with names, but all of these gods struggling because the earth was overrun with these demonic beings that were literally just made up of balls of ego, and they were just gnashing and growling and nasty. And the gods were getting tired, the gods were getting overrun. being pure of heart, they didn't recognize and know how to deal with this ego. And so each one of them bestowed a gift that gradually built up. And this is my version of it. I know there'll be much more deeper versions of it, but they gradually built up this being, this enormous mother, Ma Kali, the great mother. She was enormous. She went down onto the earth in the story. She went down onto the earth and she let rip. She tore heads off when those egoic demons tried to change shape and change colour to fool her. The mother's heart saw that that wasn't her child, that wasn't creation, that was ego, and she bit their heads off. She ate them. She realised that one of the demons, can't remember his name, but he was very powerful, and he got clever at making sure that every drop of blood of his that was spilt created yet another ego, yet another demon for it to fight. So Ma Kali knew what to do. The guiding mother knew what to do, and she ate him. She digested him, so no blood was spilt. And she continued on that rampage, that ferocious motherly love, literally guts, bones everywhere, just war. The gods sat and watched horrified and realised, what will stop this mother now? She's killed all of them, but now she's just enjoying trampling the bodies of these egos. And Shiva, the gentle, wise Shiva, her balance, her divine masculine, the god Shiva came down and faced that ferocious mother to the point where his white ash body was laying on the ground and she had her foot over him, which I think is a real bad thing in Hindu tradition. And so the depiction of her with the tongue hanging out and blood is the mother having that release point of the battle is over, it's all said and done, and she puts her tongue out as a mark of shock and respect to Shiva, to say, I'm so sorry that I had my foot on you, I'm so sorry that I did that. And Shiva just looks at her, and that look tells her everything, that the battle is over. These egos, these wounds, these limitations, these labels can no longer harm creation. And after that, in my head, there's space and time for Ma Kali and Shiva to look at all of the room for things to sprout up, for things to grow, for things to create, for all of the beings to be their full potential, not weighed down by things that they've built up over years and been such a martyr to cling on to. And so this is where the real wisdom, when you're building that home, that heart inside of yourself, that divine feminine place for yourself to go to think things through, to transmute them and then to release them, is that it's not always going to feel pleasant. The best mothers, like Ma Kali, will look at you when you're, it said, will look at you when you're in ego, when you're living through ego, i.e., carrying wounds because you think that that's what you should do. And you'll see the most ferocious being ever. You'll be terrified, just like you are with your mother when you've done wrong. You're terrified of that look of disappointment, you're terrified of that look of anger. Yet when you approach Ma Kali as the same person, but on your spiritual path, on your whole path, not being a victim, not being a martyr, just a seeking journey. She's the most gentle, loving, kind mother. Those eyes will be the most kind mother you've ever seen. Now, in both depictions there of Ma Kali, to me, that's both of those are kind. Both of those are necessary as a mother. And maybe some of us today have just come to the point where we realise that we've started to get frightened of facing ourselves and seeing ourselves in situations of the past of how they really were. Being so frightened that we'll disappoint ourselves so much in ourselves that we'll never come back from it. And that's not true. If there's anyone we should be able to face, if there's any place that we should be able to go that's safe, that's warm, that's compassionate, it's within self. Self first. And so today is really about building up this divine feminine home within self, where you can let go of these things for good and rewrite that brain map that tells you that it's good to hold on to things, it's good to smolder over things, over anger, over guilt, and be that martyr, and flip that script round. I hope that made sense to the right people. So the third card being the Fool card. Now again, this came up yesterday. And I'm not talk too much on him, but basically this Fool card again is reminding us in his beautiful way to explore. He carries no baggage. He carries the lessons of the wounds that have been created or that he's created himself. He carries the lessons of them, but he doesn't wear them. He doesn't hold them on himself as a badge, as some kind of symbolism of who he is and what he's done and what he's been able to do. He just has them as a reminder to either experience that kind of thing more if he needs to, or avoid it, see the red flags. He just keeps trucking on, and he's not afraid of any experience. He's not afraid of this cliff. I haven't found out if this is an alligator or a crocodile. It's something that's dangerous. But he's not afraid of it because he knows that he's got this home within self. He's got this divine feminine place within self that can unpick the garments, unpick the wounds, maybe take out the stitching and reuse the thread as a reminder in his clothes of things that have passed, things that have been done, lessons that have been learned. But he's not afraid to go forward. He's not afraid of any more wounds that might be created, and there will be, because he can always come back to self. He can always come back home and ground himself and transmute those things and just add more stitches to his garment. More reminders, more experience, a fuller experience. The Fool would rather experience than hide away. The Fool would rather let go of things like this rather than have anything hold him back. So he's not afraid to fall. He's not afraid to fall because he has that foundation, that home within self, and for the people who are blessed outside of self. That when you start to recognize the mother that you have, the home that she's built, the place that it is, you start to experience it even deeper. You maybe start to experience it, what it actually means to her, that you know that that's there. And that's deep for any mother that is a good mother that wants to build that home, that space, that place for her children, for her grandchildren and her grandchildren's children. It's these threads that aren't to be ashamed of, they're not to be scared of. They just are. And the next experience is what it will be. But nevertheless, there's this grounding, there's this foundation, there's this home that is so important. So that's the reading. I think it was a long one. I don't even know how long it is. For the 14th of May 2020. It's pretty deep. I hope it helped somebody out there. If you'd like a private reading from me, you can book with any of the details above or below. Visit my Facebook page, True Divine 44. Join that page, like that page, and I'll see you tomorrow. Much love. Be balanced, be whole.